Hello, my Balisong people. Welcome to another episode of my channel. That's just what we're going to say now because I'm tired of saying my whole name. But anyways, today we're doing another review. I'm glad to be able to be recording videos so close together. I was able to record that shipping video yesterday. I actually did record this review yesterday, but my stupid camera just was being stupid, so I gotta redo this, which I'm fine with. So today we're doing a review on the Heed, let me get it in focus, Heed Seaknight. So, let's get into it. Okay, so now that we're a little closer up here, here is the box for the Seaknight. You got your Heed, and then it says Heed Industries on the front there. So that's what you get when you first get this thing. So when you open up the box here, which is a little bit of a pain in the butt because it's all metal, which is kind of cool, but it's alright. This is what you're going to first see when you open up the box. You've got your two custom bits, which we'll get into because it's got custom hardware. And then you've got your knife. There would be a spot for a latch, but this is just a part of a pass around that I'm in. So there was no need to really include the latch. I don't think any of us are going to really want it. We were all just going to take it off anyways. So I've now had this thing for a couple days, and there's a few things I want to say about it. So first off, let's just take an overall look at this thing. Just looking at it, does it kind of almost remind you of anything? Like, does it almost call back to any other Balisong that you can think of? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But anyways, looking at this thing, I mean, it looks pretty cool overall. It's a long bally and it's heavy. So when I weighed it, it comes in at 5.5 ounces. That's a heavy boy. I don't know if anyone else is like me, but my sweet spot for ballies is more like 4.6 ounces when I'm flipping. So this is a little heavy. This is a little heavy for me. But I digress. The big thing that is so special about this bally is this right here, the changeable weight system. That was like supposed to be the big feature on this, and after having it for a couple days, I have to say it's not all that great. I know that Will did a review actually on this exact same knife. We were a part of the same pass around, and I do have to agree with him. These really only make a difference when you have them on the extremes. So like I have them both right now. I have them all up towards the top, which gives it more, to me anyways, more of like an even weight distribution. And then if you put them all the way in the back, it gives it that more back weight. So, you know, the whole idea was supposed to be able to, like, you know, have one down here, one up here, and so on and so forth. But really, there's not a big difference unless you have them in the extremes. So that being said, let's get into the custom hardware that it comes with. You can see it's not your average Torx bit. It's kind of a weird bit, which luckily is included in the box, and they give you two. Thank God. But here's the thing, you need to have something like this that you can fit in there, so that way you can actually use it. Otherwise, good luck using it. And also, it's kind of annoying to use. So like you can see the weird shape. To line it up is such a pain in the butt. Like just trying to get it in takes a hot minute. So like I end up having to take like one of the let me focus, one of those little notches on the end there, and lining it up with the notch on the bally, and then eventually it sinks in. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's a little bit of a pain. I will say, good luck ever trying to strip these. I mean, I would say these are pretty much unstrippable bally or screws, so I mean that's kind of cool, I guess. But it's a little bit of a pain. So like when I first got this thing in and I was trying to use the adjustable weight system on this, it took me probably a good 20 minutes or so to actually change these around. So that was a little bit of a pain because I wanted to really experience like the differences, and it just took forever because I was trying to get that freaking screw head in the screws, and that took forever. Another big thing I noticed, these are all on a slide system. So here, let me get one a little loose here so I can show you, just to also show you how big of a pain it is to get it in. Once it's in, it slides. So you can slide it back and forth, and for the most part, it's kind of easy. But here's what's a pain. Each handle has its own too. So you have to do that 4 times on each side of the knife. And on the slide system, sometimes these things get stuck. So when I first had this in my hand, I thought that I had to keep backing out the screw because I thought it just wasn't loose enough. And the freaking screw backed out. So if you're like me and you lose tiny things easily, those custom screws scare me a lot, because where the heck am I going to get screws like that again? And so that was one thing that just didn't quite sit right with me when I was trying to mess around with this. You know, and then on top of having to figure out how to freaking use it, it's definitely a learning curve for like getting that screw head in there, but once you get it, I guess it's not terrible. Another kind of gripe that I had with this thing, the bottom screws are freaking Torx. So he's got all these like good screws up here, and then just defaults to Torx in the back, which I was like, dude, what the heck is this all about? Like, why is that like that? I don't know. If that was me, I would just either go all Torx or I would do all these weird screws, and that's what I would do. So it was just odd to me to be like flip-flopping, because now in order to take this thing apart, you need not only your custom bit, but now you also need a T8 screwdriver. So it's like, you know, most Bally's you can get away with just one. This one you need 2, and not only is it just 2, one of them's a pain in the butt to use. So that was a little unfortunate, I would say. Another thing that I'm not a huge fan of with this Bally, and this just is a personal thing, I think, the H's. I am not a fan. I think it ruins the look quite a bit on this Bally. You know, like I had said before, it kind of calls back to another knife that we're all familiar with, the Alpha Beast. It's got that same thing. It's got the 3 chevrons, elongated hole, 3 H's, elongated hole. Very, very similar to an Alpha Beast. But the Alpha Beast has like a nice pattern. Imagine if instead of these, BRS just did BRS and did it on each handle. I think it would make it look kind of cheap. And maybe that's just me. But I think that's what this does, is it makes this look a little cheap. And I'm just not a fan of it. Going back to that weight, that 5.5 ounces, I think the easiest thing that they could do to fix this is just take this hole and bring it all the way to the top. Because then these weights would actually make more of a difference when you had them in different positions. So like then you could actually feel more of a difference putting them in different spots. And then that would get rid of the ugly H's. So that would be a suggestion of mine. Other than that, it is a good looking knife. They picked a good blade design for this weight on the handles, because this like thicker part of the blade up here does carry itself more and gives it more of an even distribution of the weight. It's comfy to flip. They did a very good job on the rounding of the handles. I will give them that. I wish it was lighter, because it is comfy to flip as big as it is. And actually, I'll do a side-by-side here for you guys with the AB, just to show you. It's a decent size bigger, more so towards the blade. You can see it's like a good, like maybe inch or so bigger. And I think if it was lighter, I'd really enjoy flipping this, because it is comfy. It's comfy feeling. If it didn't have those stupid H's, I'd like it. But it just, when I'm flipping it, even after just doing basic maneuvers, my hand gets tired. And I thought I was like old carpal tunnel dude over here, but no, it's just, this is heavy and you get hand fatigue really fast. It just feels a little bit clunky, I would say, in the hand when you're flipping it because of its heaviness. And I'll do a sound test here. it doesn't sound bad. It sounds good. They did a very good job on the bushings. No tap. Very, very, very minimal play. So there's like not a whole lot really to mess with there. You know, I think overall they did a really good job with this. There's just a few things that I would fix about it. Another quick thing to mention is around that tang pin there. They were going for like a unique design. However, those sharp edges can get a little pinchy when you're doing certain moves, and it'll get caught in that tang cup and you'll get pinched a little bit, and that's not really super nice. So that was unfortunate because the handles themselves feel comfy, but when you're doing other moves, this will pinch you. So it's like, it's weird. It's definitely weird, and it's a unique design. I'll give you that. And I haven't seen anything else from Heed. I think this is the first Bally I've seen from Heed, unless I've been living under a rock. But I think this is their first model. So if this is their first model, this is a great first go at it. If they make those few adjustments, this can be a good flipper, because this was created with flipping in mind. So I would say make those few adjustments and they've got themselves a great Bally. I would definitely lose these screws. Like, you can get unique looking torque spits or torque screws, and a lot of other companies have been able to successfully do that, because I think if you get rid of the cool looking screw look, it takes away from the design a little bit. So I think if they used cool looking torques, this would be a great looking Bally without the H's. I mean, even if they just got rid of the H's and just left it plain, I don't like the H's. Maybe I'm being picky. If you agree with me, leave me a comment below. We'll talk about it. If you don't think the H's are good and you think it looks fine, then maybe I'm just being a picky jerk. But overall, you know, it's okay. It's something. The price point on these starts at $450, I believe, and you know, if this was something that I didn't get in a pass around, and it was just something that I bought myself just to try it out, I would see myself selling this within my first week of owning this. It's interesting. It's a neat little knife to flip for the time being, but it's not something I would quickly fall in love with, because the looks aren't immediately appealing to me, which is like half of why I buy knives. And then the flipping aspect of it isn't really up to par for me either. So it's cool and all. I just personally don't think it's worth the cash, and I think I'd get rid of it pretty quickly. I don't think it would be something that would sit in my collection for a while, being that it's just so heavy. It wouldn't see a lot of flipping time. So there we have it, everybody. The Heed Seaknight. I gotta get rid of this thing here tomorrow. I'm sending it off to the next guy who's going to be enjoying it. So I had to make sure I recorded this before I had to get rid of it, so you guys could just kind of see a little bit into what this knife is. It's a new thing. It's hasn't really seen too much light in the community, so I wanted to shed some light on it. I'm personally not a huge fan of it, but maybe some of you guys will be. Maybe it's something that tickles your fancy, and it's something that you might want to pick up for that price point. Otherwise, I think Heed's got a little bit of work to do to really bring a nice looking Bally plus good flipping into the game, but they've got a good start, and I think just a few more adjustments and they'll be well on their way to having a top tier flipper. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.